Food spoils. It's a fact of life. But imagine a time before refrigerators, freezers, or even canning. Our ancestors faced a real challenge: how to keep food edible for longer than just a few days. This was no culinary whim. It was about survival. Across the globe, ancient cultures developed ingenious methods to preserve their harvests, ensuring they had food year-round. These techniques weren't just practical, they were woven into the fabric of their societies, influencing flavors, traditions, and even trade. Let's take a trip back in time and unearth these culinary secrets. Salt, the white crystals we sprinkle on our food, played a starring role in ancient food preservation. It's one of the oldest and simplest methods, used for millennia across the globe. From the Egyptians preserving fish to the Romans curing meats, salt was a lifesaver. But how does it work? Salt draws out moisture from food, creating an environment where bacteria struggle to survive. This slows down spoilage, keeping food edible for weeks, months, or even years. Think of salted cod, a staple in many cultures, preserved for months thanks to salt. Imagine the aroma of wood smoke clinging to meat or fish. That's not just for flavor. Smoking was another ingenious technique used by our ancestors. They discovered that smoke, beyond its delicious scent, had preservative properties. The process involves exposing food to smoke from burning wood. This does two things. First, the heat from the smoke dries out the food. Second, the smoke itself contains compounds that inhibit bacterial growth. This combination makes smoked food less hospitable to spoilage. Think of smoked salmon, a delicacy enjoyed for centuries thanks to this ancient wisdom. Fermentation might sound like something gone wrong, but it's a controlled transformation that produces some of our favorite foods. Think yogurt, cheese, kimchi, sauerkraut, and bread. These culinary delights owe their existence to the power of microscopic organisms, bacteria, and yeast. In simple terms, fermentation involves the breakdown of sugars by these microorganisms in an anaerobic, oxygen-free environment. This process produces lactic acid, which acts as a natural preservative, extending the shelf life of food. Take kimchi, the spicy Korean staple. Fermented cabbage, bursting with flavor and probiotics, a testament to the power of controlled decay. Section 5. Sun's power, drying food for the future. The sun, our nearest star, provided more than just warmth to our ancestors. It was a powerful tool for food preservation. Sun drying, as the name suggests, involves removing moisture from food by exposing it to the sun's heat. This process inhibits the growth of bacteria and mold, which thrive in moist environments. Think of raisins, grapes, transformed by the sun's warmth into chewy, long-lasting treats. From fruits to vegetables to meats, sun drying was a widespread technique, particularly in warmer climates. Section 6. Pickling, a tangy tradition. Pickling, submerging food in a briny, acidic solution, is another ancient preservation method that tantalizes our taste buds. The process usually involves vinegar, salt, and sometimes sugar, creating an environment hostile to bacteria. The result? Crunchy, tangy delights that can last for months. Pickled cucumbers, onions, eggs, and even meats added variety and flavor to ancient diets. Pickles weren't just a side dish, they were a way to preserve the bounty of summer for the leaner months. Section 7. Ancient versus modern, a preservation face-off. Today we have refrigerators, freezers, canning, and a whole arsenal of modern preservation techniques. These methods are undoubtedly efficient, but they often come at a cost: energy consumption, packaging waste, and sometimes a compromise on flavor and nutrients. Ancient methods, while more time-consuming, offer certain advantages. They are often more natural, relying on simple ingredients and natural processes. They can enhance flavor, adding complexity and depth that modern methods sometimes miss. And they can be more sustainable, reducing reliance on energy-intensive technologies. Section 8. Bringing the past to your plate. Benefits and challenges. Incorporating ancient food preservation methods into our modern kitchens can be a rewarding experience. Imagine the satisfaction of making your own sauerkraut, pickles, or sun-dried tomatoes. These techniques allow you to connect with culinary traditions that have stood the test of time. They can also be a healthier alternative to processed foods, often containing less sodium, sugar, and artificial preservatives. However, it's important to be aware of the challenges. Ancient methods require time, patience, and a bit of experimentation. Food safety is paramount, so proper hygiene and techniques are crucial to avoid spoilage or harmful bacteria. Section 9. Lessons from the Ancients. Ancient food preservation techniques are more than just culinary relics. They are a testament to human ingenuity and our deep connection with food. By rediscovering these methods, we can learn valuable lessons about sustainability, resourcefulness, and the art of preserving nature's bounty. So, the next time you reach for a jar of pickles or a piece of smoked salmon, remember the ancient wisdom that made these culinary delights possible. Perhaps it's time to bring a touch of the past into our modern kitchens and savor the flavors of history. Our Gap 3S. Section 10. Fascinating facts from the past. Did you know that ancient Egyptians used honey not just as a sweetener but also as a preservative? Honey's natural antibacterial properties made it perfect for preserving fruits and even meats. In fact, archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient tombs that are still edible after thousands of years. In ancient Rome, garum, a fermented fish sauce, was a staple condiment that also doubled as a preservation method. This pungent sauce was made by layering fish and salt in jars and letting them ferment in the sun for months. The result, a rich, umami-packed liquid that seasoned everything from meats to vegetables. Meanwhile, the indigenous people of North America developed pemmican, a high-energy food made from dried meat, fat, and sometimes berries. This nutrient-dense food could last for years and was crucial for survival during long winters and journeys. These are just a few examples of the incredible ingenuity our ancestors showed in preserving their food. By exploring these ancient techniques, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the flavors and methods that have stood the test of time. So, why not experiment with some of these age-old methods in your own kitchen? You might just discover a new favorite way to preserve and enjoy your food. Gap 3S, Section 11, The Secrets of the Silk Road. Imagine the bustling markets of the Silk Road, where traders from different cultures exchanged not just goods, but also knowledge and techniques. One of the most fascinating aspects of this ancient trade route was the exchange of food preservation methods. The Chinese, for instance, mastered the art of pickling vegetables in vinegar and salt, creating delicious and long-lasting delicacies like pickled radishes and cabbage. These pickled foods provided essential nutrients during long journeys and harsh winters. In the Middle East, merchants and travelers relied on the preservation power of sugar. Fruits, like apricots, figs, and dates, were often candied or turned into thick, sweet pastes that could be stored and transported easily. These sugary treats not only satisfied sweet cravings, but also provided a quick energy boost. Meanwhile, in Central Asia, the nomadic tribes developed a unique method of preserving dairy products. By fermenting milk, they created a variety of foods like yogurt, kefir, and kumis. These fermented dairy products were rich in probiotics and could last for months without spoiling, making them a staple in the diet of nomads. The exchange of these preservation techniques along the Silk Road not only enriched the culinary traditions of the regions, but also ensured that food could be stored and transported over long distances. This sharing of knowledge was crucial for the survival and success of traders and travelers. As we delve into these historical insights, we can see how the ingenuity of our ancestors has shaped the way we preserve and enjoy food today. So the next time you bite into a piece of pickled vegetable or enjoy a spoonful of yogurt, remember the ancient trade routes that made these foods possible. Gap 3S, Section 12, Unusual Ancient Techniques. Throughout history, humans have developed surprising methods to preserve their food. The Vikings buried fish, particularly sharks, for months. This fermentation, known as hakal, made the fish safe to eat. In ancient Egypt, honey preserved fruits, nuts, and meats. Honey found in tombs is still edible after thousands of years. The Incas freeze-dried meat at high altitudes. In Japan, nari-zushi fermented fish with rice and salt. This evolved into the sushi we know today. These methods show the ingenuity of our ancestors. Their legacy lives on in the foods we enjoy today. Gap 3S. Section 13, Cultural Significance of Food Preservation. Food preservation was deeply embedded in the cultural fabric of ancient civilizations. Methods and rituals reflected the values and beliefs of these societies. In ancient China, fermenting vegetables balanced dietary needs according to traditional medicine. Indigenous cultures used smoking and drying to sustain communities through winters. Preserved food reinforced social bonds during gatherings and ceremonies. In the Mediterranean, food preservation was an art and symbol of prosperity. In the Middle East, drying fruits like dates and figs symbolized hospitality. In ancient Rome, salting fish was a significant industry, with garum being a popular delicacy. Food preservation was intertwined with cultural identity and social practices. Gap 3S, Section 14. The most exciting discoveries. Journey through history and discover the ingenuity of ancient civilizations in preserving food. From meticulous fermentation in ancient China to communal smoking and drying in North America, each method tells a story of survival and innovation. The Egyptians used natron to preserve mummies, fish and meat. In the Andes, freeze-drying potatoes, known as chuno, helped the Inca thrive. Roman garum factories reveal extensive trade networks and culinary sophistication. In the Middle East, drying fruits like dates and figs symbolized hospitality. Ancient Persia used ice houses to store perishables, showcasing human ingenuity. These techniques were about more than food. They built communities and celebrated culture. The legacy of these methods continues to influence modern practices, bridging past and future.